Hey everybody, welcome back, of course, to another episode of our weekly NFL recap with my boy Ishmael.
What up? What up? What up?
All right, all right. Of course, you already know if you are checking out everything on Twitter, please make sure you follow my Twitter at xwilliams81. If you are checking out everything on YouTube, please make sure you check out everything on the Sports Plug. Subscribe to that. And also, if you are on Facebook, please make sure you like and share this broadcast so we can get a little bit more people checking out this broadcast. And like I said, we are recapping week 8 of the NFL season. Ishmael, we are finally about the midway point of this NFL season. And just like that, like we talked about in the opening kickoff of the NFL season, this season is going to go by quickly.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it goes by slowly, but look at us just, we already at the midway point. And we are starting to see a couple of teams separate themselves from the pack. We're starting to see, who are contenders and who are pretenders. We still have some people that are in the middle, or still have some teams that are in the middle of the pack that we don't know yet until we get to about week 12, week 13, like I've said for the last couple of weeks. So it's going to be real interesting moving into the colder months, and that's when the real football is played. When they're outdoor, snowy games, rainy type of games. We saw that in Baltimore. Yes, sir. We saw that in Baltimore. We're going to see that a lot more moving into the colder months. So I'm excited to see some real football, and we're going to see who is able to adjust their offensive and defensive schemes to fit not just the teams that they're playing against, but also the weather as well.
Most definitely. Most definitely. It's going to be exciting. It's coming down to it now.
I definitely agree. And let's also remind the people as well that's watching, the NFL trade deadline does end today at November 3rd at about 11:59 on the East Coast. So if you are trying to get those last second trades in, NFL general managers, go ahead and do that before the clock is over.
Let me ask you this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do you think there have been a lot of rumors coming out about certain teams who are no longer in contention and getting rid of players, mainly thinking of the team right here where we are based out of Houston.
Yep.
Do you think that they're going to get rid of some of their players today? Do you think we might see a J.J. Watt go? Will we see a Will Fuller go? What do you think?
No, that's a great question, because the main person that's been dangling when it comes to the trade bait is Will Fuller.
Yep.
It seems like they've been hanging Will Fuller's name for the trade, for being up for a trade for the last 2 weeks now. JJ's name got thrown in it, but let's be real, JJ wasn't going to get traded. We was never worried about that. But with Fuller, I could see it, but to be completely honest, because of his history of injuries, I don't see anybody really wanting to take that risk amongst Fuller. I think people will wait for him to become a free agent and then get him off of the market that way.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that happening. But if you can get him for the cheap, because we all know the Texans like to make bad deals, then sure, come take a shot on him, and then it don't work out. He don't work out.
Come one, come all. It's a fire sale. Everything must go. It's half off. Maybe it might be 75% off in Houston. So, we'll see how that goes. All right, let's go ahead and get started with the first game of that week NFL Week 8 slate. Falcons versus the Panthers. Ishmael Siryon, I'm very disappointed because I'm tired of picking the Falcons this whole year. I was tired of it. I wasn't going to do this. I wanted to go down with the ship that is called the Carolina Panthers if they lost, and they did. But I have no problems picking them because the Falcons have failed me so many times in my weekly pick'ems. I had to go ahead and just ride with Teddy B.
I mean, I don't blame anybody that picked the Panthers over the Falcons because of how much of a hot mess the Falcons have been. I definitely also chose the Panthers only because Teddy Bridgewater was coming off a game where he was killing it in New Orleans. I mean, even though they lost that game, he still had the numbers, and they've been playing pretty well on the offensive side of the ball. So I definitely was thinking Panthers were going to come in here and run away with this one. I didn't think that Atlanta really had the fight in them, and for Atlanta to win this, it doesn't say much to me about Atlanta. Atlanta they did okay, but I still don't trust them. It says a lot more to me about Carolina, even though Christian McCaffrey is going to be coming back. I just don't think this year is the year for them to go to the playoffs and make any noise. I do think that Matt Rule in his first year is building a decent program there. And maybe next year they're going to come out. They're going to be a little bit more competitive. But I think I've been holding on to it a little bit for Teddy Bridgewater and making their case every week. But I think this was the week I had to say, you know what? It's just not it for them.
Yeah, it was. I mean, again, I can't get a read on this Panthers team. I mean, of course, we have to remember they have been playing without Christian McCaffrey since probably week 1, week 2 of the NFL season.
Yeah, man, early.
So it's not like this is the full healthy roster of the Carolina Panthers that we're judging this team on.
Very true.
My main thing, to be completely honest, I'm more worried about Robbie Anderson being a number 1 wide receiver. People were saying because of his stats this year, oh, look at him, he's a number 1 wide receiver, but it's not about the stats. It's more about the actual player. I mean, if I look at Moore that's on that team, I consider him more of a number 1 because of his body. He can fight for one-on-one 50-50 balls. He can be able to play position wise in the red zone to be able to go up for a catch. Robbie Anderson is a really good wide receiver. He has the speed. It's just the lack of size that concerns me when it comes to if I need a play to be made. We know we can give the ball to Julio. We know we can give the ball to Larry Fitzgerald. We know we can give the ball to Hopkins. We know we can give the ball to certain guys that can catch it, make a play, or just catch it and make a first down. Again, just looking at Robbie, I think he's about 170. I mean, if that's soaking wet, he looks smaller than Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, so I mean,
I think you hit it right on the head with that. I think that is why they've lost some of the games that they lost, and they've had some, because if you really think about it, there have been a lot of games where they've been really close, and it's come down to like a 4th down play or something, and they're just not able to make the 4th down play. And it's like you would think if you got Christian McCaffrey in there, I mean, sure, most people are going to key on him, so he's probably not going to be open. So you would think if you had a true number 1, a really like go out there and get it number 1, they probably make that play and they win some of these games. And I think you were right. The fact that Robbie, and this is no knock on Robbie Anderson.
No, not at all.
He's a really good receiver, but I think the fact that he's your number 1 speaks to the type of receiving core you have. You have some really good guys in there, but you don't have that one like standout guy. Like I would even say, we're going to talk about this team later, but Fulgham for Philly, he's kind of starting to make himself, he's making that case as one of those guys that in the tough situation, he go out there and make the play. And I think Carolina is lacking that right now.
No, I definitely agree, and that's something that they will definitely address in the offseason, most likely, when it comes to adding more pieces to that team. I'm assuming, of course, they will stick with Matt Rule moving forward. So we have to see how the Carolina Panthers team looks like in the future. So very excited to see how that NFC South division is going to look over the next couple of years. I mean, because let's be real. I mean, that's probably one of the most consistent divisions in the last 15 years when it comes to how good every team has been. I mean, that's been a division where the last place team usually comes up and win the division next year. And we've seen teams go to the Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl. We've seen quarterbacks in that division win MVPs. So that division has always been a underrated, tough division that is going to be exciting to see the uprise of everybody else besides the Saints and the Buccaneers.
Oh, yeah. The other 2 teams are what's got me excited.
Let's get to this question right quick from Greg Turner. Do you guys think with time he can be that, or he doesn't have the potential at all in regards to Robbie Anderson?
I don't think it's a potential thing. I think he's a really good receiver right now. He can get better, but I think when we're talking about this number 1, I think we're talking more so about like his body, his makeup, the type of receiver he is, like a DK Metcalf, like a Julio Jones,
AJ Brown,
one of those bigger guys that really can go up there and get the ball, make a difference. I think he, to me, is in the build of like a Will Fuller, where Will Fuller, we see what he's been able to do as the number one in Houston without DeAndre Hopkins, and it's not the same because that's not the kind of receiver he is. He's got speed. He can beat you over the top. He can do a lot of things when he has a guy on the other side that's helping to draw coverage away from him. But as far as like you being the sole focus of the coverage and you making a play, I don't think that's Robbie Anderson's game, and I don't think he can make that his game. I think he's the type of receiver he is, and they need to find a complement to him that's going to help him excel at what he does.
Robbie would be great. Robbie, like you said, when it comes to comparison to Will Fuller, if you had him next to a Julio Jones, if you had him next to a Michael Thomas, if you had him next to a Mike Evans, he would, blossom probably even more because, like you said, all the attention is on the number one wide receiver, and that number two is, let's be real, we both play wide receiver. When you have a good number one and an even better number two, it works for both people because you cannot just double the number one and leave number two open. Okay, now you can't double number two and leave number one wide open, right? So it helps on both sides of that receiver, 1, 2, and also the number 3 wide receiver as well. When it comes to being able to have that open offense, we're going to get into Tampa real soon, but same thing with Tampa Bay. Being able to add AB, that helps even more on the offensive side of creativity to be able to confuse the defense on packages that they bring in on the offensive side. So let's go ahead and get moving. I apologize for staying a little too long on that topic or whatnot, because that game was not a good one. But we'll get to an even better one, which I think was the game of the week: the Steelers versus the Ravens. It wasn't as hard and physical as we are used to seeing this quote unquote old school battle of the Steelers and Ravens of the mid 2000s with Troy Polamalu and Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and all them boys. That was real football back then. That was real football. Now, this game was really good. I think it was a good game. It was sloppy due to the conditions, but
indeed,
I don't know about you, but I think we learned a little bit more about the Steelers than the Ravens. Because with the Ravens, I might have had to cut you off. Because with the Ravens, this is the Ravens boogeyman. The Ravens cannot get past the Steelers or the Chiefs right now.
Nope.
And we have to remember, I love Lamar Jackson. I have no problems about Lamar Jackson. But we cannot keep trying to put him up there with Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. We cannot do that when he has not won a playoff game. He has not yet won big regular season games. You can go 11 wins, 12 wins, 13 wins in a regular season. But when you get to the playoffs and you don't win a game, that regular season does not mean anything anymore. I apologize, but it does not. You have great stats rushing, but at the end of the day, I am tired of seeing Raven fans talking about, oh, look, why are y'all mad at Lamar because he didn't rush for 200 yards this year game? First of all, he's a quarterback. He needs to be passing the ball. I know what the offense is built for. It's built for Lamar to be able to run the ball. But once you get into week 15, week 16, week 17, you are going to run him dry, and he is not going to be ready for the playoffs. If you are a quarterback, I need you to stay in the pocket, give the ball to your weapons that you have in the backfield or of course, on the side of you, wide receiver wise. We've seen Hollywood Brown have put up a tweet and then delete it talking about how do you have dogs but you don't use them. Okay, so there's something going on in that Ravens locker room when it comes to they in the inside of that locker room. They see the same thing that we see. Ish. Okay.
Well, so I like what you said at the very beginning, where you said that we learned more about the Steelers than we did about the Ravens, and I only say that because for me, this solidifies the Steelers as one of the top 2 teams in the AFC. I think there were a lot of questions about the Steelers. I think even when they beat Tennessee, people were still like, well, let's see what they do against the Ravens. And I think this right here solidified, like, the Steelers are back. They're for real. They're ready to play. And we're going to have to do something about them. The Chiefs, that's the team you got to look out for, the Steelers. For the Ravens, I think, to me, I don't know about everybody else, it's solidified to me what I have thought about Lamar Jackson for a long time now. All that noise was made about him last year or the year before when they were saying how, oh, he did this, he did that, oh, running back what, wide receiver what. bruh, he cannot throw outside the numbers. He does not throw to his receivers. He only throws to tight ends. And anytime a team locks up the tight ends, it is done. He can't make the play. He can't read. He doesn't read multiple receivers. He looks at the tight end and then he tries to run. So when you play a defense like the Steelers, who come in, they scheme for you, they make you throw the ball outside the numbers, try to get it to the receivers. Hollywood Brown, I see why he's complaining. One catch. Listen to this. How you have Marquise Brown with one catch, three yards, a touchdown. The one reception he had was 3 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah.
A touchdown, but my goodness. I mean, they run the ball and that's it. That's all they can do. They can run the ball. And then they can throw it to the tight ends. Okay, cool. But you got to be more consistent than that. The reason why they don't win these big games, even though they were close, it's 28-24. You got to give that to them, right? They're still able to make these games competitive.
And they were also leading that game for the most part.
And
the Steelers came back and won that game.
But the problem is he's not doing it consistently when they need him to. And it'll always be, for me, he's always going to be that guy. Until he changes something, he's always going to be that guy that is, if I had made this throw, we win this game. But, or if I had made this play, it's always, to me, a one play away. Like they got this one pass play that he missed high on, or he missed a wide open receiver. And it's like, until he gets consistent with throwing the ball outside the numbers, I don't think they beat the Chiefs. I don't think they beat the Steelers. I know they won't beat the Titans. So it's just not going to work for them.
Yeah, let's get to the comments right quick. Let's check in on the comments. People checking out the show. Travis Crow says, keep up the good work. X and Ish as well. Appreciate that. Jasmine Moore says, hi, guys. Hello,
What's up,
Jasmine. Appreciate you. James Jennings, who is a Steelers fan, put the little ghost emoji because he's happy about his Steelers winning that game. My boy KC McKinney checking everything out in Iowa, Chiefs fan. He says, how are you guys feeling about Lamar not winning the big games? We kind of course, just touched on that. Now, I do want to talk about this comment KC put up. He said, talking about Lamar Jackson, he did put up 500 yards on your Titans in the playoffs. Not sure if it was his fault they did not win that game. Now, let me speak on that. Yes, Lamar did put up about 500 yards rushing and passing, but can we also remember that most of those yards were in garbage time when the Titans were already up and they had to come back, the Ravens, which, of course, they did not win the game, but Lamar Jackson put up stats on the stat sheet. Now, I love you, KC, but you're starting to sound like a Ravens fan right now. I'm just saying, that's what I hear from Raven fans all the time. Well, he has these numbers. Okay, you can have Phillip Rivers numbers all you want to, but if you come into that draft class with Eli Manning and Ben Roethlisberger and you don't have no ring, we don't care. Like, that's just how it's in all sports, from LeBron James in basketball to Peyton Manning and Tom Brady here in football. Baseball is a different sport because it is what it is. But for the most part, if you can control the narrative as that guy, for basketball being that guy or football being a quarterback for the most part, you don't get those same type of excuses that other players do in other sports because, it is what it is. Now, I'll say this, and we've talked about it before, Ish. Football is the ultimate team game.
Yep.
So we cannot kill Lamar all the time when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens defense giving up 37 points, right? Because that's something Lamar can't do. But I'll say this, the Ravens haven't done it. What I'm saying is, if you set the Ravens up defensive-wise to where they always are on the field, they're giving up points because you put them in bad field position, and also you're turning the ball over, it is your fault. You can't just say, oh, well, the defense gave up 37 points, so it ain't Lamar. Well, Lamar threw 4 interceptions. That's the reason why. His first drive of the game was a pick six.
Exactly. He gave points to the other team.
Towards the end of the game, he fumbled. I mean, it was multiple things that Lamar did in that game that if he minimized those mistakes, they might have not maybe overtime or win that game, right? So I like Lamar. I have no problems with Lamar, but we have to figure out how to get the best out of Lamar without running the ball, right? Yeah, back to KC. KC said they need a number one wide receiver. Hollywood ain't number one either, and I 100% agree with that.
Very true.
Even adding Dez Bryant, because remember, adding Des Bryant to the practice squad. They did not add him to the active roster.
That's
Okay,
true.
okay. Des Bryant had played football in 3 years.
Man.
Okay.
So if you banking on him, it's not.
That's all I'm saying. Last time we talked about Des Bryant, we kept on making fun of him because of Des dropped it. Okay, but Raven fans think that Des gonna come and be the savior. Come on now.
If you
Somebody explain it to me. I don't get it.
But not only that, you gotta hope that he throws the ball to Des Bryant. Right now, he's showing that he doesn't even really throw to the receivers.
That's what I'm getting at.
It's by a receiver on that team was 5 by Willie Snead. 5. How many times did he throw the ball? He threw the ball 28 times. 5 receptions. Dude, this man is not throwing the ball to the receivers.
Man, look, Danucci in Dallas throwing the ball more times than Lamar is.
I mean, but we'll see.
All right, back to KC. He says I'm on your side with it. Trust me, it's the argument I get thrown back at me on my podcast. Ha ha ha! And of course, if you are checking out this show, please make sure you check out my boy KC's Just Another Football Show. We are sometimes on that show as well, and KC likes to join the Sports Plug from time to time, so I appreciate that, KC. James Jennings as well said, even in college, Lamar was an interception machine,
and it keeps happening. And so, they will go as far as Lamar Jackson.
Lamar will take them, yes sir. We are all in agreement on that. Let's go ahead and keep moving with the Rams versus the Dolphins. This was one of those sleeper games. Hey, if you didn't see it, it got you. Because it definitely got me. I'm not gonna lie. I went ahead and picked the Rams to win this game. Let me explain. We did see what happened when the Rams played against the Washington football team when Aaron Donald welcomed Alex Smith back to the league.
You did not just use the Washington football team as an example.
Let me explain. And welcome Alex Smith back to the league when it comes to who he had to remind who Aaron Donald was, right? Mm-hmm. I thought it was going to kind of be the same way going in Miami. The Rams defense as a whole is a pretty damn good defense, all right?
Yes, they are.
All right, then. So I'm not going to
Washington football.
I understand that, but look, let me explain. I'm only using, of course, Alex Smith coming back from not playing. Same thing with Tua. Tua hasn't played all year long except for garbage time one time this year, and for him to finally get his first start, let's be real. We've all have had our first time starting in high school, college, pro, whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. You get a little jittery. You get a little excited. You start doing some things you ain't usually, used to doing, right? Mm-hmm. Throw the ball a little harder, a little higher, whatnot. So I thought it was gonna be a little, jitters from Tua. Okay. But to be honest, he played really well, really calm, really collective. Okay. Really calm, really collected. I'm not saying he's out there the godsend that the Dolphins need, but he played well enough to, of course, beat the Rams. And also for the Dolphins, it was a full team win on all 3 phases, scoring, offense, defense, and special teams. Shout out to the Dolphins for that, because that's something in football, of course, that just does not get talked about like that when it comes to all phases contributing and winning the football game.
Yep. I want to say I think that this draft class, to me, it resembles the draft class with Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, and Phillip Rivers. I think that this draft class, those top 3 guys have proven that: Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, and Tua. And we'll talk about Joe Burrow later on. But I definitely think that these 3 guys have stepped in, and all 3 of them have stepped in and done very well. They come in, they've played lights out. Tua played okay. It wasn't that great, but he did enough to win, which that's what I expect from Tua, to do enough to win. And I'm excited about all 3 of these young guys. It's been a long time since we had a quarterback class like this, where they are all solid. I mean, you can make the argument about Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, but don't forget Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah, that's the
kind of ruins that class.
Yep. And then the other one besides that would be the Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, draft class as well.
And again, you got Baker ruining that class as well. So to me, all 3 of these guys have stood out so far, and if they continue in the right path, they may be able to resurrect these teams that they are leading now.
Yeah, we have to wait and see, of course, week 1 success after changing the new coach, with the team with the Texans or the Falcons, or changing a new QB. It's all fine and dandy after one win, but
they've had
as
success with Fitzpatrick, and I think he's not being asked to do anything more than what Ryan Fitzpatrick was doing. So that's why I think that he could be successful there.
I agree. One thing about the Miami Dolphins, little reports coming out of Miami were saying that this is Tua's audition tape for the next 10 games to see.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, because of
Apparently,
the draft picks. Yeah.
so exactly ish because of Miami being able to have the Texans draft, the Texans pick in the first round of next year. The Dolphins, they are kind of using this as a business move to figure out if they are going to stick with Tua or move on, kind of like the Arizona Cardinals, like they did with Josh Rosen, drafting Josh Rosen, getting rid of him, and then going to Kyler Murray. It could happen. I don't think they get Trevor Lawrence, but they probably could get Justin Fields. And reports on Justin Fields is that he might be a miniature version of Cameron Newton. If that is the case, watch out.
Like that.
I mean, I don't either. But that's what they were saying. And apparently as well, at Ohio State, he is the fastest player. When they were out here running 40s or whatnot, the quarterback on your team is the fastest player on your team. And let's be real, Ohio State has nothing but studs on that team. So
that's why
to hear that, I mean, that's
idea of Cam Newton, because I think that he's more of a athlete in the vein of, somebody that's a little bit different than Cam Newton, because he doesn't have the build that Cam Newton has.
100.
What I'm trying to get at.
100.
And I feel like he's a better passer than Cam Newton as well. So that's why I'm kind of like, Cam Newton, I don't know.
Whoa. You think he a better pass? Hold on. You know what? Now that I think about it, I say he throws more. He throws effortlessly.
He's a better passer than Cam Newton.
But I'll say this. When it comes to putting that motherfucker on your chest, though, Cameron gonna put that on your chest, though. You feel me? That's all I'm saying. Justin, I gotta see.
That's if he throws the ball to you.
But we also I need to see Justin Fields being able to throw in tight windows, being able to throw when pressure in his face. When he playing Ohio State, he just sitting back there.
That's true.
It's 7-on-7. Like, really come on now. Like, that's all I'm saying. I want to see more from Justin Fields. I want to see more. All right, KC back at it again, saying the Dolphin fans will riot if they move on from Tua. And I definitely agree on that. But we have to wait and see. Still a long season. I know KC came here to check out what we talking about with his Chiefs, the Jets versus the Chiefs. Of course, this game pretty much went the way that everybody thought it was going to go. Winless team versus probably the AFC Championship contender team went the way it went. Chiefs blew out the Jets on that one. Ain't really too much to talk about on that game, but just, hey, Chiefs. The Chiefs are the Chiefs. I will say this, though. Had a breakout game from Le'Veon Bell, though. Woo!
Out there, swags. We were
out there. You want to talk about those carries right quick? Boy, that was a lot of carry, a lot of yards from Le'Veon. I wasn't expecting him to move like that.
Yeah. Don't worry, we coming for y'all.
All right, you didn't want to talk about the stats though from Le'Veon?
I mean,
run it back to her, baby. Run it back.
Let me just say that my boys, we didn't need another weapon. We got another weapon. We're doing our thing. Patrick Mahomes, he lit it up.
That's what he do. That's what he do. Ain't worried about that. I just wanted to see what the other weapon gonna look like. It looked like an old caddy. Look, 7
yards.
It's taking a while for it to warm up. All right, look, Le'Veon like that. Look, this is gonna be week 17. Like, all right, I'm ready to go. All right,
no. That's what's gonna happen. 7 yards for Le'Veon Bell. That's fine.
Hey,
like I said,
when you got that money on your back from the Jets and whatnot, it's kind of hard to keep on running. You got all that money you holding on to your back. I guess.
Let me just say this. He's not being asked to come in and save this offense. This offense was moving without him. This offense didn't need him. So just wait. He's gonna buy in. He's gonna take some time to get acclimated in that offense. And everybody in the AFC and in the NFL should be scared, because once Le'Veon catches on and starts really toting the rock, the 1-2 punch of him and Clyde Edwards-Helaire is just going to be nasty.
All right, we'll see. CMC gonna put up 150 next week, though. We'll see. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Vikings and Packers. Of course, another NFC North rivalry. And if you do
Mm-hmm.
remember, if we do, go back to week 1, the Packers was able to steal this game from the Vikings week 1. And that was the beginning of the end for the Vikings week 1. But for some reason, the Vikings found some heart in Lambeau and were able to pull off this upset because I honestly, I'm leaving the Falcons. The Vikings, the Falcons. There's certain teams out here. I'm done with them. I don't care if they win another game because they've already shown me in the first half of the season that
Yep.
y'all expectations was up here and now it's done. So even though they beat the Packers, I'm still, of course, on that Packers side when it comes to seeing them being able to actually make a run at it for the NFC side.
Make a run at it for the NFC.
Make a run at it. Yeah.
Oh, no. The Packers are done. The Packers are done. Y'all not contenders. Jazz, where you at? I hope you're still in here because your Packers did it horrible. How do you lose to the Vikings?
Yeah.
What? Not if you're a contender in the NFC. Now I'm picking all the NFC West teams over the Packers until the Packers show me something different. I cannot imagine them. I understand it was a division game. Yeah, I'll give you a little bit of slack.
I mean, we had the Chiefs. It happened to them a couple weeks ago against the Raiders.
Yes,
so
and I understand that, but
right.
that to me that's different because the Chiefs, we know who they are and they perform at a certain level all the time. The Packers, on the other hand, last year they didn't really perform. This year, Aaron Rodgers not really performing. He's hit or miss again. So it's creating too many questions for me about the Packers, and especially when you got teams like Seattle doing what they're doing, New Orleans, you got Tampa Bay with Tom Brady. I just don't see Green Bay really competing if they continue to be this inconsistent.
No,
especially at Lambeau.
Well, that and also, I mean, Aaron Rodgers can't play. Of course, like we're talking about Lamar Jackson. Aaron Rodgers can't play defense. So it's just one of those things where you can control your offense, you can do everything you do on offense, but I think both sides of the ball for the Packers need to be improved. You got to give Aaron Rodgers a couple more weapons on the outside and also another back, and then also for the defensive side. I mean, the defense hasn't looked good since the Super Bowl. I mean, let's be real. I mean, since that departure of everybody from the vets of Woodson, or even of course just the downward production of AJ Hawk and Clay Matthews, the Packers just have not been who they have been in the past, and maybe the Packers organization saw the writing on the wall. That's why you get Jordan Love. Maybe they are ready to restart over and be done with Aaron Rodgers and also the past of Brett Favre. You have these two great quarterbacks in the last 25, 30 years collectively, and you only get 2 Super Bowls out of it. There's obviously a problem there in Green Bay because...
Well, I mean, let's not say it's the quarterback because
I'm not at all. But what I'm saying it's the organization. You have to get the most out of your talent. We saw what the Patriots have done with Tom Brady. You were able to get the most out of both the coach and the player, of course, Tom Brady that you have. If you have a generational talent like an Aaron Rodgers, you have to find a way to juice the shit out of him and get everything that you possibly can.
Well, you got to get a defense because that defense is just not doing it for them. And I don't see that defense stopping Seattle. I don't see that defense stopping New Orleans, Tampa Bay, Arizona. I mean, there's a lot of teams in the NFC right now that got a lot of firepower that this defense just doesn't look like they're up to the task to stop those top teams. So that's why I can't pick them. And really, Aaron Rodgers used to be that guy for me that in the clutch situation, you'd probably say like, yeah, he probably would drive down to win that game. I feel like they should have won this game, and the fact that they didn't kind of, for me, it sets it off for me that just like I don't think Aaron Rodgers has the people he needs to make the kind of plays that he needs to make to pull them through these games that are close and that they should be winning.
Of course, definitely agree on that. And again, I mean that's Aaron to have to figure out on if he wants to finish his career in Green Bay or do like Tampa Tom has done and go somewhere else where
Tom.
Hey, that's what it is. And go somewhere where they want you and see you as their savior and will do everything. Maybe he might end up in Carolina, be in the NFC South and play against Tom for a couple years. I'm just kidding. It ain't gonna happen. But I'll say this: never say never, right? Because we've seen crazier things happen.
We have seen crazier things.
All right, let's go ahead and move to the next one: Colts versus Lions. this game went pretty much the way I thought it was going to go. I will say this: I was a little bit surprised that the Lions actually held on to the lead at first, and then the Colts came back and finished out that game. But I mean, both teams honestly are who we think they are. The Lions ain't shit. The Colts ain't shit, but they were in it. They were able to win this game, being a little bit better. Ain't shit. That's honestly.
I'm surprised you say that. Because Colts are now tied with your Tennessee Titans at the top of the AFC South. I'm gonna finally stop being mean to Phillip Rivers. Stop giving him a hard time.
I'm not.
All right, Phillip, you got it this time. Sure, you might be able to win the AFC South. You proved me wrong, because I definitely thought that they were gonna be mediocre Indianapolis and not even compete, and Tennessee was gonna run away with it. But Colts may actually be competing down there in the AFC South. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not gonna say anything too nice about them, but yeah, they're starting to change my mind a little bit.
Yeah, honestly, for the Colts, and I've talked to Colt fans about this yesterday, not just for the Colts, but also for the Titans. This month of November is going to...
Oh, it's big.
Yeah, for both teams. I mean, for the Titans and the Colts, because the Titans and the Colts play each other twice in 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
The Titans also play the Browns, and the Colts also play another pretty decent team as well.
So the Titans got a bye week in between there.
Well, I wouldn't say that, because we just, as we saw, and we'll get to that, we'll get to this game shortly, an NFL team is an NFL team. So if you sleep on a team if you want to, you're going to lose that game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. So, just saying. So we have to wait and see. The Colts did what they needed to do. No matter who you play, you got to win games, right?
Yes, that's right.
So
beat the teams that you're supposed to beat, and they did that.
Exactly. Same thing with the ugly Bears. It is what it is. We talk about the Bears, but they win their games. Same thing, like I said, with these Colts with the Colts. They are in position to be able to have a second half run like they have done in previous years.
Yup, they have done it multiple times.
So
that's why I'm starting to respect them.
Well, again, I have to wait and see, because as a Titans fan, the same way I talked about Lamar, boogeyman is the Steelers or the Chiefs. For the Titans, the Colts are our boogeyman. Yeah. For some reason, we cannot beat these fools. I don't know what it is. I think it's mind control, as they say with Debo and whatnot. It's some type of mind control. Every time Colts with Debo come through the house, I don't know how to play football no more. I don't know what it is. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this AFC South plays out. If you look, of course, the AFC South standings when it comes to the other two teams, the Texans and the Jaguars, it's pretty much over for them. They're both 1-6, so we'll move on from there. Raiders versus the Browns. Now, before we get into this game, I would just want to let the people know, if you haven't heard, Trent Brown, lineman for the offensive Raiders, has had a hell of a year, and I'm not talking about on the football field. First of all, when it comes to getting COVID, and now I don't know what the hell is going on with these West Coast doctors, from Tyrod Taylor to now Trent Brown, but he had an IV that was injected in him the wrong way to where it entered into his bloodstream, and now he has to sit out, to where it was life-threatening. Like, he almost probably lost his life type shit. And I don't know what's going on. Do we need better doctors? Do people not know how to put IVs in anymore? Like, I don't know what's going on, but Trent Brown, man, hey, prayers up to you, because I went and checked out his Instagram. He deleted all his pictures on his Instagram, and I wouldn't be surprised at all. Mentally, he's probably not in a good mind frame, and he probably wants to reset and just get better.
Yeah. I mean, it's a sad situation over there. I don't know what they got going on the West Coast, but the NFL need to do some sort of orientation with their doctors, or get some situated, because you can't have that happening where they're supposed to be treating somebody and then something happened like that. But to the game, all you people that keep talking about the Browns and y'all are like, why aren't y'all taking the Browns seriously? Oh, the Browns. Stop bringing the Browns up, Greg. Shut up about Baker Mayfield. Shut up. Like
I had to bring up that comment, of course.
I am tired of all these people saying like, "Oh, but Baker Mayfield this, No, be quiet. The Browns are exactly who we know they are and who they always have been. They're frauds. Okay, 5-3. They are frauds. They are 5-3 frauds. Okay, they shouldn't be 5-3. They are terrible. They're terrible. 6 points. Stop. I don't even want to talk about them anymore.
What I was gonna say is Baker Mayfield had more commercials than they had points yesterday.
For real, like he need to stop with the commercials and focus on.
But I see this boy on Hulu. I see this boy on Progressive. I see this boy on every commercial except for scoring damn touchdowns.
He needs to.
I need to see you on a scoring touchdown commercial. That's what I need to see you.
And I don't want to hear anybody say anything about OBJ because they still got Jarvis Landry.
Yep.
They still got Kareem Hunt in the backfield. Yep. Even without Nick Chubb, they still got a guy that won the MVP and was a league leading rusher at one point in time and still has that skill. He has proven that. So for them not to be doing anything at all, what do y'all want to do? Y'all want to blame it on the coach again? They got rid of Freddie Kitchens and y'all still doing the same thing. Like the Browns at this point, they are frauds. Like I said, everybody thought that they were going to be good, thought they were going to do well, and they just have not done it. They don't do it every year. For some reason, something happens and they don't do it. I'm done with them. I don't want to talk about them.
Yeah.
Get them out of here. The Raiders, sure. You're second in the AFC West. Whatever. I mean, the Raiders may get a wild card.
Nah.
It's possible.
Nah.
I mean, you never know if they show up like they.
Because at the moment, if we look at the AFC playoff standings, at the moment, right now the Browns actually have that 7th seed, but I don't know, man. This is only week 8.
The Raiders got the tiebreaker, so the Raiders could pass them up in a little bit.
Again, week 8. Let's wait until about 4 more weeks. It's going to change. We're going to wait and see.
Oh, yeah, it's going to change because the Browns getting up out of there.
They probably will. So we're going to have to wait and see. And speaking of teams that had to go ahead and get up on out of there, Tennessee Titans, we need to just go ahead and leave Cincinnati because obviously nobody listened to Bill Belichick when he says on to Cincinnati. On to Cincinnati. So your whole week for Tennessee Titans need to be focusing on Cincinnati, and I'll be honest with you, besides our defense is sucking ass for the whole 8 weeks now or whatnot, the defense has been like this. The defense is who I know who they are when it comes to. It's not an elite defense like it was in the past two years or even last year. The defense is missing. We're missing Adoree Jackson. You have Jonathan Joseph out here getting killed every damn game. There is no pass rush at all on the defensive line.
Oh, y'all went and got Clowney, though.
Clowney wasn't the person that's supposed to be worried. I wasn't worried about him pass rushing. I was worried about him affecting the game on multiple levels. I was worried. I was wanting him to take on double teams so other linebackers can fill those holes to get sacks. But like I'm saying is that as a collective defense, that is not happening. Like there is no push on the line. We are giving up 80, 90-yard touchdown drives. I mean, talking about just the bingo. I'm talking about over the last 8 weeks to where we finally, as Tennessee Titans, finally have an offense. But if we are scoring 42 points, but we give up 43, it doesn't mean anything, right? We've talked about Joe Burrow all season long, talking about this is a guy, all right? Yes, this is a guy turning into a man. And he turned into a man with his second win of the season. I know he probably ain't gonna get too many this year, but he turned from Macaulay Culkin at Home Alone to Macaulay Culkin smoking cigarettes. He turned into a grown man overnight and show everybody that, look, I can play, son. Missing 4 offensive starting linemen, missing your starting running back, and going out there and balling like that. Again, all I can do is give it up for Joe Burrow because at the end of the day, we all got to remember as well. Yeah, they lost. Titans lost to the Bengals. That's fine. But I'm not about to sit here and just, the season's over with. I'm not. Because, again, we play the Colts twice in the next, 3 weeks. We play the Ravens week 11. I'm excited to see that game as well in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. This season is not over with at all. as a fan of course, of a football team, anybody that watch football, you should want your team to be healthy and moving in the right direction by week 15.
Mm-hmm.
Week 15, week 16, week 17, you want your team looking a certain way. Week 8, you can slip up at week 8 and make up for it at week 16, week 17, and going into the playoffs. And people don't even care about this. We've seen Super Bowl teams lose a game in the regular season they were supposed to win, and then they win the Super Bowl. Okay, so I'm not saying the Titans are, but I will say this: after 2 lackluster performances against the Steelers and now the Bengals, I am a little concerned because I am. No, seriously, I am especially on the defensive side. If we go up against Kansas City,
oh yeah, you done.
that's all I'm like. If we go up against teams that seriously have an offense that is going to make us look silly on the defensive side, we are going to be in trouble. Now, if we had this offense last year with going at Kansas City, we might have a chance. But the defense right now is holding us back tremendously from taking that next step and being serious AFC contenders. The Steelers went from, remember, just a couple years ago, people were laughing at the Steelers for the whole Killer B situation from Le'Veon and Antonio Brown, and just laughing at the Steelers. And now all of a sudden, they are undefeated for the first time since the '70s when they were winning Super Bowls, and they have a legit shot this year of probably winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah. So let me just say this. First, I'll address the Bengals. Like you said, we've said this all year. Joe Burrow, he has stepped in. He's been poised. He's made plays when he needs to make plays. They just don't. They're a team that they're still learning how to win, right? So like they would get up on teams and then they would lose the game because they just don't know how to win at this point. But they definitely stepped up here and found a way to win. And this might be a turning point for the Bengals to where they start getting a little bit closer in these games, start winning a little bit more of these games that they shouldn't be winning. And who knows, they might squeak out a couple wins here at the end of the season. We may be looking at them like, hey, they could do something next year. I mean, they've still got a long way to go, but they can make a little bit of noise and probably take the Browns spot.
Yeah, we got Brad Reese Jr. saying, I think the Bengals will get 5 wins.
Get 5 wins.
I mean, it's pretty more. I mean,
maybe
we got 8 weeks left. So
we got 8 weeks, three more wins.
Got Jamal Fantastic on YouTube saying, y'all almost had me fooled. I almost believe y'all was a top tier. Well,
all right, yeah. Again, let me address that comment. So
please address that
comment right there. So I was going to say about the Oilers. I'm not concerned about the Oilers. You as a fan, you are concerned. I am not concerned about the Oilers. I still believe the Oilers win the AFC South. I still believe the Oilers are in that conversation as a top 3 team in the AFC. The reason why, we talked about it earlier at the in the episode, we're getting into the time where it's getting cold. It's time to run the ball.
Run the ball.
And everybody knows the Oilers got that man back there, okay? And when you got a man
Braid
that can run the ball, take the air out of the ball, take the time off the clock, keep an offense off the field, the Oilers have the best man at doing that right now. So playoff time, I'm not worried about that defense because I know when it comes down to it and we get into the playoffs, the game plan will be let's hand the king the ball and let him keep the offense off the field. So that's the one thing that I think when they played the Steelers, we saw in the second half, when they started handing that man the ball, the Steelers didn't really score points in the second half. They really almost won that game. And really it should have been to overtime, but that missed field goal. So that is what I think we will see a lot in the playoffs. That's why I'm not worried about the Oilers, because I think they will. The only problem I see for them is I think they could potentially beat the Steelers because Ben Roethlisberger so far, he's had some second halves or he's had halves in football games so far that have been kind of for me. And I think if the Titans can run the ball against them, then they'll end up squeaking a win out of there. Kansas City is the problem because you can't with this defense, you can't stop anybody on Kansas City. And with Patrick Mahomes, the week he had this week, if he keeps playing like that moving forward, you got to have a team that's going to have a secondary. Pittsburgh, I'm worried about as a Kansas City fan because I think that they can probably stop them. Tennessee, I'm not worried. I want to see Tennessee in the playoffs as a Kansas City fan because I know we're going to light them up on defense.
Yeah, again, time will tell. We just have to wait a couple more weeks to see how everything pans out. again, for me, for seeing the Titans defense for such a long time now, I'm just not impressed right now. That's why I'm worried. Because let's say we do play the Steelers and they can run the ball as well too. What if they just want to run the ball and keep Derrick Henry off the field, right? They're not worried about Tannehill, they worry about Derrick Henry. So
That's true.
we have to wait and see. We have to wait and see how these things play out. But I do agree with you. Once we get into those winter months, we're gonna see a lot more running the ball. All right, Patriots versus Bills. Depending on how you're looking at this game, I guess it might have went the way you thought it was gonna go. It might not have, but are you doing that because it's time to pull Cam? Is that what we're doing?
Get him up out of there.
Get
him up out of there.
You want to explain what you mean by get him up out of there?
Right. Cam Newton is not the man to run this offense in New England. I understand. I've heard the complaints. Oh, they don't have the people around him. He doesn't have the weapons. Even Tom Brady didn't have the weapons. But it did not look this god awful. Cam Newton has got to get up out of there. I am sorry. I did not think at the very beginning of the season when they made the signing, I didn't think that it was a match made in heaven because they didn't show that they had ever had a quarterback. They never had a mobile quarterback before. So for them to alter the offense to try to fit Cam Newton in there, it just doesn't really fit to me. And then to not have the wide receiver weapons you would need to make it like a situation where teams don't stack the box against Cam Newton, you don't have it. So I think you need a quarterback that's just going to be a game manager, going to find the open guy here and there, dink and dunk it down the field, run the ball here and there with Rex Burkhead and Sony Michel whenever he gets back. I think that's what they need. And Cam Newton's not that guy. Cam Newton is a guy that he's going to run the ball with quarterback power. He may be able to throw the ball here and there, but honestly, ever since he got hurt and after the MVP season, he has not been able to throw the ball downfield, throw it outside the numbers, which you need in New England. They don't got it. I knew that my boy Allen in Buffalo, I knew that he was going to come in and be the real deal. He did okay, but this is the passing of the torch right here. I thought that this was the game I was looking out for. Remember, I talked about it. I said the boogeyman for the Bills has always been the Patriots. That's been their daddy in the division. They always spank them up whenever they play. Well, the Bills got that win. And for me, this is the passing of the torch. Here you go. Buffalo, take this on. You will be winning the AFC East. That's if Tua doesn't have something to say about it.
Yeah, the Bills only have a 2-game lead in that division so far. I'm not saying that they will slip and lose that lead, but depending on the Dolphins, we have to wait and see. I don't think that East is wrapped up as we think that is. I think it's the Bills' division to lose, and it was that from the beginning of the season, even with Cam joining the Patriots. So we have to wait and see how all that pans out. And Gregory Turner says Ishmael's never going to call them by their actual name, huh? He's talking about the Oilers.
Yes, that is their name. They're the Oilers.
They're not.
They're the Oilers.
Anyways.
Y'all need to learn y'all football.
Tennessee Titans.
The Tennessee Oilers.
All right. Anyways, Chargers versus Broncos. Now, these games like this is the reason why I can't bet money yet because you done? You think you drew lock or something? Is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing? Really?
Put my backpack on and just shredding it off.
You look like Dora the Explorer. Your backpack, you probably got your map back there too, huh?
We got everything you need in our backpack because Mr. Locke pulled them all out of there and just lit them Chargers up. Now I know you picked the Chargers, so
I did. This what pisses me off because the Chargers should have won this game. I don't understand what's going on with the Chargers. Okay, look, this is what I'm gonna say with the Chargers. The Chargers are the West Coast version of the Falcons. All right, I'm getting sick and tired of these damn Chargers. You got all this talent on both sides of the ball. How do you? You know what? I'm not even going. I need Usa because shout out to the Chargers for blessing the Tennessee Titans with a gift with trading Desmond King to the Titans because as we talked about with the Titans, they needed defensive help. They finally have gotten that on at least the safety side. But I don't know about you, but does it kind of seem like the Chargers are kind of already throwing in the towel for this season? Am I wrong or not?
Um,
But
I kind of feel like that. I kind of feel like they are taking this year as like a let's get Herbert the experience he needs kind of year. They're not really
yeah,
truly competing, and I don't think that they feel like they're going to compete for a championship. I feel like they are realistic in their expectations of we may be able to win some games here. We may be competitive in games, but we're probably not competing at the top of the division. So let's just get the experience for our younger guys. Let's build towards next year. Keep putting the blocks in, and then next year we're gonna really come out and do it. So I think that's what they're doing. I
no, I
agree with
agree.
you. They kind of are like, let's trade this guy away. And just keep getting people experience. I think that's what it is.
Now the real question is, what about Anthony Lynn? Does he stay?
Yeah, he
Do they
stays.
get?
He stays.
I hope so, because again, if that's something that collectively we're saying in meetings, and Anthony Lynn's on the same page, like yeah, it don't matter what the record look like, I'm still be able to have my job, and this, that, and the third, and all of a sudden they go 6-10, and they say, Lincoln Riley, he's a hot name right now. We're gonna go ahead with Lincoln Riley and build with Lincoln and Justin Herbert.
No, I think Anthony Lynn stays. I think that the organization understands what he's building there. I think that they are giving him the opportunity with the rookie quarterback, especially with how good Herbert has looked so far. I think that they, like I said, believe that this year they just need to build that experience, and then next year will be the year. I think next year, if they start losing games and stuff like that, Anthony Lynn's probably going.
Yeah.
But I think this year they're going to give him that year to just get people experience to build up ready for next year. Now, onto the rivals we got out in Denver. But the boy that's at the helm for them, he is from Missouri, played at Mizzou, and he did put the team on his back. Because let me just say, 26 for 41, 248 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception. Man, Drew Lock is back, and that's the one guy that I was nervous about, to be honest, as a Kansas City fan. When they got Drew Lock, I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty nice, because Drew Lock, let's not joke and play about it. Drew Lock
nice.
Drew Lock nice, good.
Oh, Drew Lock nice.
He need the people around him, and like I said, Philip Lindsay back. He was running the ball, toting it pretty good.
Now say what you said off air before we got live on air. Say what you said about Philip Lindsay and Melvin Gordon.
Oh, I think that Philip Lindsay is the better of the two backs. I think that Philip Lindsay is the better of the two backs between Philip Lindsay and Melvin Gordon. I think it has been proven since Philip Lindsay has come back and gotten healthy. He is running the ball. Even when they run the ball, if you watch any of the Denver games, he runs it a lot harder than Melvin Gordon does. He is out there running the ball.
I think Melvin Gordon, the same way we talk about quarterbacks being able to prosper off of the system, I think Melvin Gordon was one of those running backs at Wisconsin. We saw him get all those yards and be in the Heisman contention and this, that, and the third. And let's be real, Wisconsin running backs, since they've been, every 3 or 4 years, they'll have a back and they come into the league and they'll be okay for a year or two, but they don't do anything. At Monty Ball, like where are all these running backs that come out of Wisconsin? Jonathan Taylor, like what are they?
Jonathan Taylor's doing all right in Indy,
but I'm talking.
I think they're a product of the system.
If you're looking at people like a Ron Dane is the pinnacle of Wisconsin running back, right? Even with him, when he was with the Texans, he wasn't that good. Like.
Well, I agree that I think they are slightly a product of the system, right?
That's all I'm saying.
That system is built to run the ball. If you're running back there, you're going to get the ball.
Especially if you got big old 6'7" country-fed boys out here pushing the line.
You can excel, but I don't think that it's Melvin Gordon's problem. I just think that he's not – I don't know if it's just not the fit for him. Like, I don't feel like he fits in the style that Denver has. I feel like Philip Lindsay fits in the style because he's kind of like that zone runner. Get in there in between the tackles, break it out, use some speed, but he also runs hard. Melvin Gordon just, to me, does not run hard like that in between the tackles. He runs okay, and you want to get him in space, but think about this. 8 carries, 26 yards. Philip Lindsay has 6 carries, 83 yards, and a touchdown. That, to me, just tells me, just by looking at the stats, like, I've got a guy that's running hard and making the plays, and I got another guy I'm giving the ball, and he's doing okay. He's not the kind of running back that you want to run downhill with. I feel like Melvin Gordon needs to be in the system kind of like Kansas City, where we do get guys to run downhill, but we use a lot of space and spreading the defense out to get those guys that space in between tackles. And Melvin Gordon needs to be in a system like that, or even in Arizona than in Denver. It just is not a right system for him.
What I also feel like as well too. I mean, I low key kind of feel like it might be a mental thing for him. You know, this is a guy. This is a guy that got drafted high when he first came out of college. Then he had to battle injuries, a major injury as well. And when people, I've had a tear in my ACL. That, you know, we know people that have had certain ligament injuries, and the main thing when it comes to coming back from an ACL tear is the mental part of getting over him. Am I going to get hurt again? Like being able to plant, being able to cut, being able to make certain moves. Can you trust your knee? That is the main thing, especially for a running back. Everybody is not Adrian Peterson, okay? Everybody is not like that where you can just go get tear your ACL, go get it surgically repaired, and then go run for 1,500 yards the next season. Everybody is not like that. So with Melvin Gordon, who knows? Maybe it might be a mental thing. KC says he's building, as in we're talking about
Anthony Lynn, I believe.
Anthony Lynn, thank you, yes sir. He's building a great team and has yet again been killed with injuries. If Derwin James is in, they don't lose that game. Definitely agree. And like Casey said, it's been like that for a year or two now, where he has really good teams, and all of a sudden people get hurt, and the Chargers look like who we thought they were. All right, 49ers. Right, 49ers Seahawks. 49ers are the poster child for injuries this year. This is kind of like the game with the Chiefs and the Jets. Everybody pretty much assumed that Russ was going to cook and do what he needed to do, even though this was a divisional game. Seahawks, of course, ended up winning this game. Now, let's be real, Ish. This game went the way it went, but I think we want to talk about what happened off the field. I think we need to talk about Russell Wilson and his wifey Sierra with the Halloween get up. I don't know if you saw it or not, but how'd you feel? I just want to hear your take on it. What'd you think about the? You didn't see it?
No.
Okay, well, I'm gonna see the picture right now, but I'll say my 2 cents on it. I honestly thought it was hilarious. They dressed up as Busta Rhymes and Janet Jackson, music video back in the day in the 90s or whatnot. So of course we all know they 90 babies like us and whatnot, or 80 babies or whatever, 90 babies. So they all know about the Busta era, and to see Russell Wilson with dreads on made my Halloween, because
you're funny.
That shit was funny. I ain't funny. Seeing Russell Wilson with dreads is hilarious. I thought that boy was DeAndre Hopkins for a second, but
okay, I'm looking at the picture. Yeah, this is ridiculous.
So you see that? Okay, Okay,
it's ridiculous.
I love you, Russ. I do, but I'm gonna need you to keep your ass on the field and be cool as hell, swagged out on the football field. Leave Halloween alone. Leave that for other folks. Stop that shit. I love you, Russ, but please. Boy, I'm got blinded by that tinfoil he had on and shit. That's all I'm saying. Like, come on. I love you, Russ. People gonna say we hating. I don't give a damn. Stop. All right. That's all I'm gonna do with that game. Because that as a Halloween weekend just scared me. That costume was scarier than the game.
Well, just one thing that was scary from the game before we move on, because I think we got to talk about it.
What's up?
DK Metcalf, bruh.
Baby Brian, as Brian would say, Baby Brian. Yes.
12 receptions, 161 yards, 2 touchdowns. This man is becoming more and more like every week is getting scarier and scarier and like if I'm a team in the NFC,
I have a question.
I don't know.
I have a question. Could we contribute it to 2 things? Not just DJ Metcalf, but also the quarterback that he has playing and throwing the ball to him.
Yeah,
because
Russell's
I have a question, because I don't know if you remember or not, but of course, Ole Miss last year 2 years ago when they had those 2 wide receivers, DK Metcalf and AJ Brown, the question was who is going to be the better receiver out of those 2, and what was the big knock on DK coming out?
He only runs one route.
Exactly. That was the thing that I was worried about with DK is, can he run routes and actually run them, well, because of how structurally big he is. But seeing him play, that has not been a problem.
No, not at all. He's been able to run routes. He's been doing, and that's why I say it's getting worse. Like every week that he does this is just scary for the league because if he can run routes,
Yeah.
more than one route,
Yeah.
and do what he's doing at the
Yeah.
size and the speed that he has,
Yeah.
I don't know. You got to double team him, in which that's why you might have what's the name, Tyler Lockett making the plays that he's making. Not to mention they still got Josh Gordon, who is
supposed to be coming back,
going to be reinstated, and if he gets reinstated, this wide receiver core, that is a scary wide receiver core because everybody knocks Josh Gordon, but don't
you can knock him all you want to, as long as you give him I give him a blunt before the game. Hey, you ready to go, baby? Give my boy Josh a blunt before the game. It's a wrap, son.
Seattle that offense could just continue to get better and better. So, yeah, from this game, that's the one thing I took away is just DK Metcalf. He's on a different level. He is
a man amongst boys.
Yes, he is.
He is. And one thing I will say is I will say this. Let me before we move on to the next game. I love old head people, right? Because I'm talking to my uncle, and I ain't gonna put him on blast. I love you, uncle. I love you. But we were watching the game, and he was looking at DK Metcalf. He's like, "Man, you see what's going on with this generation? They got all these nose piercings and this and that, and man, ain't that stuff fruity?" I said, "Unc, you were watching the Bulls in the '90s with Dennis Rodman,
yeah,
and he was doing all that stuff too, but still was messing around with Carmen Electra, messing around with all these women,
and he was the ultimate tough guy, the ultimate enforcer."
But what my uncle said was, no, I mean he's still weird too. So it don't count. I'm just like this is going on in every generation from the '70s or Earth, Wind and Fire to the '80s. This has always been around. It ain't going nowhere. From what I see from people especially like a guy like Zeke and people that have a problem with people with guys with nose rings or girly stuff or whatever it is, bruh. Why does what guys do offend other people? I don't even Odell. I hate Odell when it comes to the little puppy dog. The poodle dog hair, right? But at the end of the day, that's not my hair. I don't give a damn about what Odell does. If Odell want to put curl in his hair and he go out and do it. DK, if you want to look like a sunset in your hair and have a little bright orange, go ahead and do it. Because at the end of the day, he can do that. I can't go to work with orange hair and nose piercing, this, that, and the third. They might look at me like, sir, I'm going to need you to go home and change that. Okay? But because he's able to do that in the realm that he plays in, hey, go ahead and go do your thug this. All right? Yes, sir. Let's go ahead and move it on. Like I said, finish up this weekly wrap-up of Week 8. Saints versus Bears. This game was a little more back and forth than I think we kind of all expected it to go. Saints ended up pulling out the dub against the Bears. But can we actually see the Bears be a little bit more competitive moving into the second half of the season?
No. Right. I'm gonna be a complete hypocrite here because for other teams, I was giving them I was saying oh well, they just needed one play or they made it close. No, I don't care how close it was. The Bears are frauds. They're imposters. All right. They should not be 5-3. They are bad. That offense is horrendous. And the Saints were supposed to win this game. They won the game. I don't care how close it was because I never thought the Bears were going to win. And I don't think the Bears are going to compete for anything. The only reason why the Bears will ever be in anything is because that defense is a lights out defense. But that offense, being as bad as it is, I don't think that they help that defense at all. And when they play play some of these other teams, I think that it's just they're gonna wear the defense down, and the other team's gonna win, kind of like what the Saints did here, because the offense is terrible.
No, I definitely agree, and I'll say this about the Bears though. They have a chance moving into the winter months because when you go play in Chicago, when you go play in Chicago, we know how it is. And that defense, like you spoke of, maybe could cause some turnovers, maybe could cause a pick six, scoop and score. I'm just saying the Bears can maybe edge out a couple of wins here and there, maybe squeak into the NFC playoff. I'm just saying it could happen. We gonna see. All right, let's go ahead and move on because that game, like I said, meh. Just like this game as well. Sunday Night Football game, of course. The Cowboys versus the Eagles. This was Such a great game that had to be played on Sunday Night Football. Oh Lord! I mean, I really hope Christine watching this episode.
Okay. I was just about to say, I have not
Lord,
seen Christine comment yet, and
yeah, she
Christine,
ain't
I
watching.
want you to please, whenever you watch this back,
Because you will.
please say something for your team. Make me feel okay with your team leading the NFC least, because I watched this game, and to be honest, you know what my take was from this game?
You both suck.
The Eagles are garbage. Like, my take was not even like, wow, the Cowboys are bad, or wow, both teams. No, my take from this was the Eagles are garbage. Like, Carson Wentz, bruh. Carson Wentz.
That's the savior in Philly.
Oh my. If at the end of this season we don't have questions about Carson Wentz starting in Philly, then there's something wrong. Because that game was horrendous. You played against the Cowboys, who their defense has basically let everybody score.
And on their third string quarterback as well.
And you still made it a competitive game until late in the game. Like, I was watching this in disbelief. I just couldn't understand how the Cowboys even led at one point.
Bruh,
Like,
I know you saw Danucci out here trying to impersonate Patrick Mahomes with this sidearm bullshit that he was doing. Look, man, I saw that. I said, you know what? I'm going to have to turn this TV off, because I don't know who the hell this fool think he is, coming in saying, you know what? Shit, I ain't got nothing to lose. I ain't gonna be the starter, next year anyway. Ping! You know who that? Hold up. Do you know who the Cowboys' backup quarterback is right now?
Garrett Gilbert.
The question I have is, how did Garrett Gilbert sneak into the league in the first place?
They showed Garrett Gilbert, and I was like, Garrett Gilbert.
We have history. We know about Garrett Gilbert, of course, being here in Texas. So I literally, like, my mouth was open, and not just that, my mouth was open because of how shitty this game was, but just to see that, I'm just like, you know what? Y'all got it, Cowboys.
Yeah, Christine,
y'all got it.
I'm gonna need you to say something for your team, because that game was, even though they won, it was horrible. It was horrible. I understand y'all got some injuries, but I can't even give the pass for the injuries anymore, because Fulgham has proven that.
There you go. Talk about your boy Fulgham. Yes, sir.
I mean, he has proven he's a really good receiver. It's Carson Wentz for me. I mean, 15, 27, 123 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Like, and the interceptions were bad interceptions. They weren't even interceptions that you could say, like, oh, the receiver dropped the ball or he tipped the ball up. Like, no, those were bad throws. Why was he making those decisions? Who knows? So I just have so many questions about the Eagles right now. I don't trust them. I don't believe in them. I'm terrified that they played on Sunday night with the Cowboys, because who in their right mind thought that this was a good game for Sunday Night Football? It was horrible.
Let's remember, the schedule is made before the season starts and all that.
They change games all the time.
But that's hold up. They flex games like starting about week 13, week 14. So we got to wait a couple more weeks. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. I wanted to watch the Steelers and the Ravens late night game. I would have rather watched that instead of watch that. You're correct. But because of how popular both fan bases are, they going to watch both of their teams no matter how crappy both their teams are. Same thing with, and speaking of another crappy team playing on primetime, Buccaneers versus the Giants. This game right here should have definitely not have been played on Monday Night Football, but it was. And the Giants, as in a New York market, they are going to be on primetime no matter how good or bad they are, because of the market. We both know this is.
Okay, but nobody thought they were going to be good going into the season.
You're 100% correct.
Give them a primetime game on Monday night. Nobody wants to watch the Giants. They don't even have anybody on the offense. I mean,
just like the Hulu commercial. I'm waiting for my Hulu sponsor, so I already know what to say. Hey, Hulu gives you money, baby. Hulu gives you money.
You got Saquon Barkley when he's healthy, and even then, it's like I struggle watching the Giants, even when they have Saquon, because it's still boring to watch them. They're a terrible team. Why would you put them on Monday night and against Tom Brady at that? Because Tom Brady, like, anybody that thought the Bucs weren't gonna win this game, you are a Giants fan or you doing some heavy drugs.
Well, I will say this though: if you are a betting person, shout out to the Giants for that last second touchdown
Yeah.
because if the Giants did not score, if you were to bet the over, you would have lost that bet. With the Giants scoring, they actually were able to go a point on the line when it comes to over under. And even though, of course, they should have got 2 point conversion to take it into overtime, and we'll talk about that in a second. That helped out people that are watching in Vegas. Also, the line when it comes to point spread was also 12.5 for the Buccaneers, which the Giants also was able to close out on that as well too. So if you are a bettor in Vegas, hey, this was a great game for you.
I guess. I guess that's the one bright side.
That's how I see it. But also, my bad. I kind of forgot what I was going to go with that whole reminding me of.
2 point conversion.
Yes, there we go. Thank you, sir. So the 2 point conversion. There are some people that are saying that it should have been a flag thrown on that play. I saw it in live time and also in replay. In live time, yes, it kind of did look like pass interference. But when you slow it down and break it down, it's not pass interference because the defender was able to get a hand on the ball before he even touched the wide receiver. And this is coming from an offensive player. I am not throwing a flag on that play. That was too bang bang. Good play on the on Winfield, the rookie with Tampa, and at the end of the day, if Danny Dimes threw a better ball, you wouldn't have to worry about a flag being thrown to save you from their shitty throw.
Yeah.
Just saying.
All right, let's review the playoff standings.
Yes, sir. We're about to get into right now, sir. Alrighty then. Let's go ahead and check out the AFC right quick. And as of now, the playoff seeding for the AFC is Steelers number 1, Chiefs 2, Bills 3, Titans 4, Ravens 5, Colts 6, and Browns at 7. Anything you see at the moment that you can say, you can maybe see an upset if the playoffs were to start right now?
If I am a Chiefs fan, I feel really good about this bracket. Even without getting a bye, I feel really good about it because you play the Browns in the first week of the playoffs. That's an easy win. You go and then you get the higher of the seeds from the Bills, Colts, or Titans, Ravens, which to me, that means you're probably playing the Bills, and I still see a win there. So, I think that the Browns won't be in there when it comes down to it. The Browns are getting out of there. I do think the Colts might be able to find the way into the 6th or the 7th spot. And the rest, I think, is pretty much going to stay. Now, the Colts, check that. The Colts and the Titans, they may be able to switch depending on the Oilers. If the Oilers play the right way, then they are going to stay in the 4th spot. But if the Oilers continue to slide, you could see the Colts move up into the 4th spot, and then it could be very scary for the 2nd and 3rd seed because you may have a first round against the Oilers, and like I said earlier, you don't want to see them in the playoffs. That's the team you don't want to see.
Yeah, we'll just, of course, have to wait and see how everything pans out. And let's also remember, like you said, if you are a higher seed, you will be playing at their location. So in Nashville, there is an open stadium. So if you want to come to Nashville and get that and get that and also having to stop King Henry on every play, hey, have fun with that, sir.
Yeah.
All right, NFC playoff standings right now. Seahawks at 1, Buccaneers at 2, Packers at 3, Eagles at 4, Saints at 5, Cardinals at 6, and the Rams at number 7. Why are you making that face? What's wrong?
I mean, it just it's interesting to me because the Cardinals, I think the Cardinals are playing a little bit better than the 6th seed right now. So I'm interested to see them there at 6. I do think the Rams are probably not going to. If the Rams play the way they did this week, I don't know if they're going to sneak in there. They might just do it because I'm trying to look and see who is behind them at the moment that's on the outside looking in, and I believe it is the Bears.
Oh, yeah.
The Bears are right behind them. You got 49ers a couple games back. Um, so maybe the Rams do get in there, but I don't think that they make any noise. The Bucks, the Packers, the first four, I think. Well, minus the Eagles. Okay,
Well,
one and
we
five.
also got to remember I mean, I know you know this, but we also have to remember that 1 through 4, of course, are the division leaders.
Yes,
So
I know.
I know, I'm just saying, but so with the Cardinals, the highest they can get up is 5 unless they
Five.
win the
Yep.
division.
Hmm.
So sitting at 6, it sucks, but it is what it is
I
unless
think I
you're
want to be
able to
five.
move up to 5, and we have to wait and see.
Nope.
And then also with the Rams, I mean, even with the Rams being in there at number 7, that just shows right there the NFC West has 3
Yeah,
teams in
they're
playoff
really
contention.
strong.
Yeah.
They're really strong, and I think that they probably, if the Rams keep playing, kind of where they were playing before this last week, I do think they get all 3 teams in there. They get 3 teams in there, and I just know I want to be number 5 because I want to play the Eagles the first week of the playoffs. Like, I mean,
You and everybody else.
That's an easy win right there. Let me play the Eagles the first week of the playoffs so I can get kind of like a
The
let's
bye
get our
week.
team
That's
in
my bye
there.
week.
Let's get our team in there, win a playoff game, get the confidence up. But we got a whole second half of the season. Things could change. The Eagles could change. Washington football team could. I know Dooley's not on, but they could find a way to come up.
Hey, technically the Giants are still in playoff contention too as well. So
Oh my gosh,
who knows?
that'd be a horrible playoff game.
That would be a horrible playoff game to watch. All right. So also, as well, before we wrap up today's show, just to remind everybody, the NFL trade deadline does end tonight.
I'm excited. I want to see some moves.
I do as well. To be completely honest, though, I think we might see maybe one. Because it looks kind of quiet. It's been quiet. The trade deadline. I mean, the trading window when it comes to being able to make trades has been very quiet. No big names like that. I mean, again, except for King going to the Titans, but
I think it's because of COVID. Because I think if they get
I've heard about that too.
They still gotta sit out like 6 days or something, right?
I think I've heard something about when it comes to they're worried about if people get traded, they're worried about being able to pass physicals and other things like that to stop the trade process. So
I mean,
that could be something that's involved, and probably teams might just wait until after the season's over to get their players. So that's something to probably watch out for as well. So I agree on that as well. All right, well, that is the wrap up for Week 8 NFL slate. I appreciate you again, Ish, for joining me, and we'll be back next week. Of course, we had to change things up this morning because we have our election, the results later on tonight, and we'll either have the same president or a new president. Who knows? We'll see. We have to wait and see. You have to wait and see. All right. So see you guys next week at the Sports Plug, and we will definitely let y'all know when our next episode, if we go back to 9:30 p.m. or we might come at 9 o'clock a.m. Just have to wait.
Might do it again.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Ish. You have a good one.